welcome to the show. I'm coming to you from Melbourne and you're on A1R Psychic Radio and Moonstruck TV. What a week it's been. I don't know about you, but I think I'm just going to light a bit of a candle here. I think, look at that. It's like, no, I'm not sure that I want to join you, Jacqueline. Just like lighting the candle. All right, here we go. I'm going to light this and say a prayer to the construction gods, maybe. I'm not quite sure yet, but what a week in Melbourne. We're still in lockdown. There's been people protesting and using the shrine as not quite the place of remembrance that we all thought it was. And, you know, things have gotten pretty real. I think, you know, in times of chaos, it's really easy for people to get lost on either extreme. And I think if we sort of look at what's driving some people to these extremes, you can sort of understand it. And I think it's really important not to completely alienate people and go, you're an idiot, man. But instead go, wonder what happened there to bring this person to that point. I'd like to give a big thank you to all the people working in the medical field, particularly anyone on the front line, retail workers who might be getting yelled at and told that they're, you know, why should I have to check in? And anyone who's having to face that sort of stuff, I've got particular healing vibes coming out to you. Anyone doing it really tough and sort of finding it really hard to stay positive in these times as well. Also, big hugs, platonic COVID-safe hugs from a distance to you as well. And I'm going to be sending healing out as I'm speaking. So I'm going to ask the energies to join with us all today and send that out to you. But I think it's really important to get back into yourself, get back into what's important for you. And I think that can be very hard when people are having trouble putting food on the table. But I think it's really important to also not just look at today, tomorrow, and next week, but also look at the longer term of all of this. And maybe we can't control what's happening right now, or we can't control things outside of ourselves, but what can we control within ourselves? Sometimes when you're feeling helpless, it's very easy to get stuck in an anxiety or stuck in an anger because you're not understanding what's going on. You're feeling like it's out of control. And I think, you know, this is where it's important to go back into your grounding, go back into what you can do for yourself today and what help you can get. Those are the sorts of things I'd really be looking at. And, you know, particularly earlier today, I got a message from someone going through extreme trouble with an addiction problem. And that's flared up again. It's caused a great degree of problems for them in their family life. And I really kind of urge you, if you're in a moment of crisis, to really reach out to the support networks that are helpful to you. And one of the things I found difficult in giving readings is, as a psychic, I'm not actually a qualified medical doctor. Let's just get that straight. If I was, I'd be going, Dr. Jacquelene, MD, you know, also psychic. And that'd be kind of okay, I guess. But no, definitely not qualified as a medical doctor. I can't give you medical advice or guidance. I also am not a lawyer, and people at times ask me for legal advice. And I actually got asked this week as well, you know, should I have the vaccine given my other health complications? Do you feel like I'll be safe with this? And I'm sort of sitting there going, what would you prefer? COVID, long COVID? You know, and have you talked to your doctor? Like, you know, big number one there, glaring right in the face, have you talked to your doctor? And I think the most dangerous thing we can do at the moment is reach out to social media sources for our medical advice and for our health advice when our doctors are right there. And if we have an integrative doctor, if you're not into the whole Western GP thing and you've got an integrative doctor who practices both, you know, the healing arts, the allied health therapies, you know, and is a qualified medical doctor as well, I'm like totally into that. I actually trust my health to a combination of a Western doctor for certain things, and then I have a traditional Chinese medicine doctor for other things, and I actually bring them together. And actually, these two doctors can talk to each other. And quite often in the allied health therapies, these days particularly, there is actually a communication going on between Western doctors and, your other therapies, particularly also things like podiatrists and physiotherapies, also liaising with traditional Chinese medicine doctors and Western medical doctors. They are all on your side. And I think, having a wide variety of really qualified advice is very helpful to you. And I think sometimes when we're looking psychically at things like this, it's sort of like, oh, well, I get a feeling that. And it's like, well, hang on. Is that from a unconscious bias? Do you feel this way politically or this way politically as a psychic based on your bias? Based on where you grew up, who you grew up around, the sorts of news sources you were listening to, and if we look at Australia's example, 100% of Queensland, that's one of the states in Australia, 100% of Australian media, print media in Queensland is Murdoch owned, for example. I mean, Murdoch runs Fox News, all that sort of stuff, and Sky News all across Australia. And so 70% of Australia's media is actually run by that guy. I don't know about you, but I'm not necessarily going to trust that. I'm going to look for other sources and various sources. And I'm going to trust medical experts over and atop of opinion writers. Like even whatever I say, it's sort of like, yeah, okay, but do your own research. And when I say research, I'm not talking about YouTube clips from some weirdo that doesn't even have a medical degree, that might have something that looks like a medical degree. But I think the thing when you're looking at some of these clips on YouTube and these other sources is to actually research the person putting the stuff up, who funds them. Like what is their training and experience? Are they a registered doctor? Are they disbarred? What's going on here? What's the agenda behind this to get to the real stuff behind it? And when you do that, you can actually sit back and go, oh, okay, right. But most of all, your doctor will have the right advice for you. And if you're like, all right, well, I'm not sure about this medical opinion, go and get another one. But, I'd be trusting medical doctors, epidemiologists, people like this over and above. And it's really interesting to note that when I've been talking to people who are really stuck in these conspiracies, they've sort of said, oh, this about COVID. And I've said, well, I actually speak to medical doctors, COVID ward nurses. I speak to PCAs. I actually speak to epidemiologists. And, they're saying it's very real. They're qualified in what they're talking about. I've got to speak to doctors, right? This is their job. Epidemiologists, this is their job. This is their lifetime of work. Why would they all be conspiring? And why would they be making this up? And I've said, well, they've been dealing with having to be spat on by people. They're dealing with people dying. They're actually holding their hand as the person's dying. And for them, it's real. And then the person goes, oh, but. And it's straight away off to the old but and then other statement. And there's no empathy there for what's actually been happening for these medical people. And I think the most important thing to look at is your view on this skewed to one way or the other from bias, or are you stopping and having a feel and a think into this and feeling into the other person's perspective as to how they got to where they're at in all of this? I think respect is one of the most important things. And people in Melbourne that have been protesting over the last couple of weeks, a couple of days particularly, have really been going on about how they're fighting for freedom. Well, how about the fact that they've shut down the freedom of choice of a number of homeless people who couldn't get vaccinated because of the danger to health workers who were being attacked by freedom fighters? What is the freedom that they're fighting for? This is something to really think about when you're talking about wanting to be developing, and particularly talking about empaths and things like this. It's really important when we're thinking of empath to be with feeling. What is the feeling of these other people, or in all of this, in all the different sides of this equation? Are you actually having empathy and really actually feeling that what's happening for that other person? And empathy and empath being different but connected. So just remember, we are all connected, and it's really important to stop and think about whether your choice of freedom is actually preventing the freedom of someone else. That's where I'm going to leave it this week. I'm going to love and leave you and send you a lot of healing. Got the candle lit. If you're needing healing at this point in time, no matter where in this podcast you've reached me, it'll still reach you. Catch you next week. Lots of love. Bye.